So the hotel industry's been through a lot in the last year. And now as we're slowly starting to rebuild the industry, one of the biggest issues we're facing is staffing shortages. And today I'm joined by Harman Narula from Canary Technologies, and we're just going to talk about that as an issue generally. Welcome, Harman.
Hey, Brendan. Great to be here.
So Harman, you're based in the US. What are you seeing there from a staffing point of view in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret that the last year and a half, 18 months or so have been quite the roller coaster in the hospitality industry, right? I think the road to recovery is going to be challenging. And what we're seeing, at least, is that it's been a fragmented recovery, right? So certain regions, certain types of properties are seeing, candidly, they're seeing banner years and months. They're doing phenomenally well, while other regions across the globe and so forth are obviously still a bit harder hit. I think we're starting to see travel pick up in certain regions. We'll kind of see how that plays out in terms of the pandemic continuing and so forth. But knock on wood, there's been a decent surge in travel for hoteliers. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit more fragmented across different types of properties. The one point that that we look at a lot, I know STR does publish some data around this. And I think recently they have published some data around occupancy being quite high or back to pre-pandemic levels. So it's good to see that demand coming back to properties, at least in North America. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out across the world.
Fantastic. Yeah, no. Similarly, in Australia, we've seen domestic travel has done particularly well. And there are some areas in the country that are, as you said, are doing banner years. They've got record occupancies and doing extremely well. Because our borders are closed, obviously some of our larger city hotels are not doing particularly well, but I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's I was talking to a large management company here just the other day, and similarly they mentioned the same thing. Their large urban hotels, big box properties were still struggling a bit, but their resort, more drive-to location type properties were doing actually phenomenally well. So a little bit of the flip in terms of what we've seen in the hotel market in the past. So very similar to what you're saying you're seeing in Australia.
Very true, very true. I read some numbers that at the height of the pandemic, we lost about 39% of our workforce in hospitality, which is obviously devastating. But even more devastating was another survey I read where they polled many of those workers, and it was up to a third of them that said, unfortunately, they've now found opportunities outside hospitality and not coming back. And that's causing a real issue for us. I know you've been involved in a number of webinars and that. What sort of solutions are people talking about to the staffing shortage?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, right? A lot of former hoteliers, like you mentioned, employees, it's they're opting for careers in what they are now seeing as less cyclical businesses, right? So I think unfortunately the pandemic has had that effect on the labor market for hospitality. Yep. But I think hopefully over time, I think people are optimistic that over time it is an industry that attracts a lot of strong talent, and we'll see that labor return. In terms of managing through that right now, a couple of things that have come up that I think are pretty helpful for hoteliers is focusing on ensuring that you're retaining your current team members. That's always a really important thing to be thinking about. While you're still trying to attract new talent, making sure that the talent you currently have is happy and kind of productive and enjoying their roles there is very critical. Another thing that we've seen is with some of the chains or brands and so forth, they've been able to reposition team members. So certain properties that don't need the same type of staffing level as they did earlier, while other properties do, they're being able to reposition some of those team members temporarily. And then lastly, of course, we're a little bit biased here at Canary Technologies, but technology has been playing just an instrumental role in allowing hoteliers to provide the experience and meet the needs of guests, right? Technology helps in terms of driving productivity for your team members, meeting those needs that the guests actually have. Some of the solutions that we provide The numbers that we see is that it actually helps productivity by about 20%.
Wow.
So you don't actually need as much labor or team members as you once did on properties. And I know I'm curious to hear what you're seeing as well, Brendan. But we're starting to see that the future of hoteliers may require some less labor moving forward, because you're able to utilize that technology to manage some of those different operational workflows that are happening in the property.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Harman. I was thinking about it the other day. What we're seeing, I think, is we're asking guests to do more for themselves, which we've seen, in the banking industry and the airline industry for many years now. But as a result of the pandemic, guests are happy to do it. And to be honest, I was thinking maybe they were happy before. We just didn't actually provide them with the tools. So as you said, the ability to check themselves in prior to arriving at the property on their own device is a big one. On property, we're seeing now guests being able to order amenities and room service and the like on their own phone. So it streamlines the operation dramatically. Yeah, I think technology is going to play a big part in supporting the workforce that continues. And I really liked the fact that you mentioned, we do need to make sure that we actually look after our existing team members and make sure they have the tools that they need to do the job efficiently. So
yeah, and I really think that technology is not necessarily just there to replace any sort of team members and so forth. It's actually just there to augment the team members that you have, right? It's there to help them be more productive. It's there to help make the guest experience more seamless and make the roles of your staff members' lives a bit easier, actually, right? A lot of the tasks that are being done today are a bit repetitive, and putting some technology or inserting some technology into those different types of operational tasks allows them to be more productive in their day-to-day. So, a lot of hoteliers are looking at it as a major investment, as a way to manage through the labor shortage that they're currently feeling.
Yep, 100%, 100%. I often talk to a lot of university students, do guest lectures and things like that. And one of the big issues they're concerned about is robots replacing them. But I think it's exactly as you said, their role is to enable. It's actually not to replace. It's to take over and do those repetitive, menial, and often dangerous tasks, allowing a team member to actually be fully present with a guest and actually, deliver what I would consider to be real hospitality.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's what we talk about a lot, is that something like a contactless check-in solution allows the hotel to deliver on the promise of hospitality, right? You can spend a lot more time during the check-in process talking about your property, talking about the different F&B outlets that you might have and the different services you have, rather than having to spend all the time doing the administrative items. Can you please hand me your ID? Can you please sign this registration form, etc.? Now you can focus on the service part that everyone loves so much about the industry.
Yep, very true, very true. Yes, I agree. There was, I think, always a concern from a hotelier point of view that technology actually took away the human aspect. But I think we're starting to see now, we've actually proven really that technology can actually handle the transaction, allowing the staff to actually deliver true hospitality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Harman, really appreciate your time today. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brendan.